Okay, guys, we are here today. Good morning. Hope you guys are doing good. It is triple witching day. Philip Morris raises his quarterly dividend. We saw Russian October Urals crude prices up at Indian ports despite risks of sanction, according to Reuters. Taiwan's de facto U.S. ambassador meets with the U.S. President Intelligence Council member, according to Reuters. We also had Kashkari speaking on interest rates and some other news this morning. It is triple witching day, a day of historical volatility, in which all four major contract types expire today. And so, we'll see what we get. Again, Kashkari spoke earlier. He said, the risks of sharp unemployment increases warrant some action. You can always cut rates more. They see 2 more 25 basis points cut this year as appropriate. Neutral rate likely has risen to 3.1%. Policy hasn't been as tight as previously thought. And the risks of, and that they supported rate cuts this week. But on news, we don't have that much going on, to be honest. Like, not a ton of stuff moving markets right now. It's a little bit slower. NASDAQ has been in a pretty obvious trend, bouncing right here at the 200 exponential. Look at the 200 EMA on a 1-minute chart, man. Market just follows that. I think algorithms have to be trading this right here. Look at this. Okay, look at the bounce here, the bounce there, the bounce there, the bounce here. And so I would assume algorithms are trading this. Back to real coffee. It tastes good. Checking Discord now. So Citigroup, Novo Nordisk had some news. Several XAI executives are exiting after clashes with Elon's close advisor over management and financial health concerns. I saw that this morning. AMC Corp specializes in safety and security tech solutions. Is this the AMC that everybody likes or doesn't like? Whichever side you're on, it doesn't really matter. But we've been in a trend on the NQ. Almost too obvious of a trend that makes me want to short it, but maybe that's just me. All right, let's do a poll. So the market's pretty flat, but let's ask this. The market, NQ, ES, closed red or green today for triple witching? Vote on that poll. That poll's now live. We do have something going on. Like, I don't think this really moves markets, but we have the DSGE model forecast by the Bank of New York. The New York Fed's DSGE model update. I think it's at 9 o'clock this morning. It's a complex economic model that attempts to explain and predict behavior of the entire economy, economic growth, inflation, interest rates. So we'll see what that means. I don't think it's going to move markets, though, personally. I don't think it usually moves markets. But See. Yeah, I mean the three major contract types: stock options, so like S&P, Nasdaq options; index futures, like S&P and Nasdaq futures; and stock index options is what I should have said, which is S&P and Nasdaq options. Index futures, which is Nasdaq E-mini, S&P E-mini that we trade, and then stock options like Apple options, Amazon options, like all that stuff. They all expire today. It used to be one more, which is why it was called quad witching. There used to be single stock futures, so you could trade like Amazon futures and all these different stuff, but there's no longer a thing like that anymore, which is how it goes, I guess. But yeah, we are here. It is Friday. I don't know what I want to do here. I kind of want to short, but the upward trend looks pretty strong as well. So I don't know what I want to do right now with this specific trend. We made money yesterday. We actually made a little bit after the stream ended during the press conference. If you kind of see, like, we did make money yesterday. We made about 100 and something. Yeah, gold, if I take a look at gold. AMD's still sitting at 156. Gold under 3700s. All right, so ECB's Mueller is speaking. They say ECB rates are mildly supportive with no need for a further cut, according to Bloomberg or via Bloomberg. Again, Tesla was upgraded at Baird. Intel was downgraded at Citi. So Bill Holdings upgraded at Truist and some others. Rating moves. But yeah, gold pulling back a little bit. Next week is historically the worst week in history. Yeah, next week we got GDP for Q2 with the new revision update, as well as PCE inflation on Friday next week. So honestly, it's kind of a big week next week. It's not small. I mean, I'm going to tell you guys every week is big, but next week is actually big. So also, I'm just realizing this. So next week, Jerome Powell speaks. Jerome Powell speaks next week on Tuesday. Apparently. We got PCE inflation, Michigan consumer sentiment on Friday. Thursday, we got GDP data, advanced retail inventories, trade balance data, durable goods, and more. So we honestly got a bunch of stuff every day next week. We got a bunch of Fed members speaking. So Moran speaks next week. John Williams speaks next week. Beth Hammock speaks next week. Tom Barkin speaks next week. Michelle Bowman speaks next week. A lot of Fed speeches. And then we got Jerome Powell speaking on Tuesday. Let me see what this is for. Okay, so yeah, Jerome Powell gives economic outlook at the Greater Providence Chamber of Commerce in 2025 Economic Outlook Luncheon in Warwick, Rhode Island. So big buy off in options. We did a poll. We asked, is the market going to close red or green today for triple witching day? 48% say red, 52% say green. Honestly, I don't have good luck trading quad witching days at all, bro. I never do good on quad witching days, so y'all just be careful. Maybe it's not just me. I don't know. I generally never do well on quad witching days. I really don't. It's just me personally. Bank of America just said that they track core PCE inflation at 0.23 0.23% month over month, down 4 basis points from their initial estimate of 0.27. If we're correct, and again, I'm quoting them, the year-over-year rate could remain at 2.9%. And so again, this is what drops next Friday. For headline PCE, we are tracking 0.25% month over month, increase of 2.7% year over year. Bank of America. We'll see if that is correct. And again, earlier this morning, Neil Kashkari said he supported a cut this week and penciled in 2 more for this year. He said, quote, "The risk of a sharp increase in unemployment warrants the committee to taking some action to support the labor market." And I think most people would agree if, like, at a certain point, you have to focus more on the labor market than inflation, right? Like, anytime we have a strong economy, we're going to have some inflation. That's just kind of the normal way things go. And so if the labor market starts to turn weak, a lot of people, in their opinion, are going to think the focus needs to be on preventing more labor weakness by stimulating the economy. And again, I don't know if that's what we should get. I really don't. I don't know if that's what we should get. I think there's risk to both right now, but I think the labor risks are deeper. I don't want us to necessarily enter a recession, but it would cause some price stability for a few years. Too much singing for me? Kind of. Honestly, I like the song. The song's good. It's called, like, look, I'll put the song up. Like, listen. Like, the singing is good. I've heard this song for years. It's been on my playlist for a while. It's not bad. I might listen to it when I wasn't streaming if I didn't hear it so much. Yeah, coffee. Non-decaf coffee. Actual coffee. Alright, we're up to 725. Yeah. See, the song's actually not bad, you know, but it's a little bit too much for me in the morning. Yeah, Bitcoin, let's take a look. Tesla slightly green at 419s, 420s. Bitcoin all the way down to 116.5s this morning. So Bitcoin down. AMD filled some of the gap, it looks like, but still down from the report net. Bears from SPY for options today. What do you think? I don't know. I really don't know. It's quad witching day. It's hard to predict today, and I think traders are expecting this volatility. So I don't know. We could get squeezes in either direction. Gold still contracting back down a little bit here. Snapchat. I mean, Snapchat realistically, the stock. Snapchat realistically moves up and down in a big range and a big percentage. You know, it always has. It has for years now, to be honest. I stopped buying it a year or so ago, though. I used to buy it at the bottom of the range and then sell on the rebounds. It was profitable for a while. It's got a little too low lately, though. And again, people use Snapchat. Like I have a 16-year-old. They're always trying to use, you know. But the problem with it is monetization problems, right? It's hard to monetize Snapchat. They've got hundreds of millions of daily active users. But the problem is it's hard to monetize this type of social media chat platform. It's really just a chat. Like, you just chat. It's kind of like WhatsApp, but, you know, more suited for younger people, I guess. But yeah. Y'all see any cheap stocks to buy right now, though? I mean, my portfolio is pretty green. My worst position is Target, but I'm pretty sure I'm still net green on my swing trade on it. I'm wondering if I should cut it, though. Target keeps breaking down. I could cut it or add to it. I don't necessarily like adding to it, although I think it'll probably go back up. But, yeah. Yeah, Bitmine is interesting. Slightly red on the day. DMG. Chipotle has had a very, very large pullback. It might be time to buy Chipotle. I think it would have to be a little bit longer term of a trade, though. So, like, I could swing trade it, but it'd have to be a little bit longer term. But it doesn't look terrible. I might buy a little bit of Chipotle. What's this? Let me look at this. Let me look up the numbers for Chipotle. Hold on. I'm not telling you to buy this. I'm not an investment professional. I'm not liable if you lose. Don't copy me. I have no idea what I'm talking about half the time. And understand all the stuff on screen. Some of the links are, you know, sponsored links. Don't copy me. I'm biased and everything else I could possibly say here. But with that said, here's Chipotle's numbers. And here's their margins. Their margins are getting pretty good. I mean, they're getting better and better and better. Although the real issue is that, but you want to compare these two sometimes. So, like, here's the last, what is this? Second quarter. We actually came in lower than the previous second quarter last year. That's the previous second quarter last year. This is the newest second quarter. So, growth-wise, if you can see the very bottom, it does look like growth is slowing for Chipotle, if that makes sense. We can also look at revenue and see if we see a similar trend. And revenue-wise, we still came in better. But again, so it's a little bit better here if you look at it. But it wasn't much, and it's definitely not the continuation of that growth that we saw over the last 3-4 years for Chipotle. The PE ratio is interesting. Let me see. 34 to 35. So good, but not great. And so, yeah. Chipotle doesn't look terrible, though. It doesn't look terrible. Are you serious? Most overvalued stock? Listen, I'm not saying it's the greatest. I'm just looking. This thing has been dipping down. This thing's down 35% since July. And so if you think it's overvalued, what metrics do you have to show that? And again, you can say it's overvalued. That's fine. Tell me why. You know, just tell me why. I'm curious to know why. Again, you might be right. I don't know a ton about Chipotle. I'm just looking up the basic metrics for it. So you could be right here. But if you are, let me know. Let me know why you're right. Anyways, NASDAQ pushing up. We're at 24,726s. Nvidia's rebounding here. It's almost up to 176. Yeah, it's quad witching day. So quad witching day generally causes some volatility, I should say. That's what we are now facing here. Chop. AMD at 156. So AMD, where's Apple at this morning? Apple's very green. Look at Apple, man. Apple's been on a tear. Taiwan just committed recently. We got this news come out just now. They just committed to $10 billion in the U.S. agricultural buys over the next 4 years. This includes soybean, corn, wheat, and beef. So that news just dropped. Secretary Rowlands on X posted that. Am I not going to get an answer from the guy that said it was overvalued? Where's the metrics that show overvalued? Again, I'm waiting for it. You might be right. Prove me wrong, sir. Let me know. I use you guys as an encyclopedia or, search engine anyway. So tell me why I'm wrong. You might be right. I don't know. Apple up, though. I was hoping we'd get some actual, argument, but it's okay. It's good content anyway. Dude, I'm not buying Cheesecake Factory. I've eaten there. I don't like it at all. I like Chipotle. I don't like Cheesecake Factory, to be honest. I'm in bed. I'll type later. Top 3 worst argument ever, brother. Anyways. I'm just joking, kind of. But triple witching is a day of historical volatility, a day in which all 3 major contract types expire same day. I don't know, bro. Maybe it's just because I don't go eat at the restaurant in Cheesecake Factory. I've ordered them before on DoorDash or Uber Eats or whatever, and I was not impressed by it. It seemed kind of basic. It seemed kind of basic. It seemed like a cheap franchise. The desserts weren't even that good. Again, maybe it's subjective, purely subjective. But no, I appreciate it, YZ. I'm just messing with you, bro. It's all good. It's all good. Yeah, I'm really thinking about buying gold right here. Maybe I'll try. The problem with gold is if we got too much optimism from rate cuts, gold. I mean, I think gold's okay either way. I'm gonna buy gold down here, small micro gold position. And let's see if we get a pop up here. I'll put the position up. I didn't know they owned Flower Child. Flower Child's okay, but it gets old, Last year, triple witching day, I went negative really bad on Boeing. I don't know about Chipotle value, but food is overpriced. Maybe. Again, I'm in a longer term gold trade. I just want to see if gold rebounds back up. We've been pulling back heavy this morning. NASDAQ's still pushing up though, so I'm probably just gonna sit in this and wait. Should set a stop loss while I'm at it though. Hold on. There we go. Alright, I got my stop loss down here. Really, I'd like it about right here. The longer term trade, we'll see what happens. Hey, y'all hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. We appreciate it. Again, 53% think we're going to be red today. 47% think we're going to be green. Let me know why in chat. The day is pretty light in terms of economic stuff. Like, we don't really have some big release today. We just don't. Next week's much busier, so it'll be much more fun to cover. Next week, we got stuff literally almost every freaking day, man. Tuesday, Jerome Powell, S&P Flash Services and Manufacturing PMI as well. Wednesday, new home sales. Thursday, jobless claims, GDP, Q2, final revision. Existing home sales as well. Friday, we got PCE, inflation, Michigan consumer sentiment, and more. So next week will be fun. Stick around, hit that subscribe button. We cover it all live right here. You're welcome. All right, so Bullard, which is former Fed, he said, I would not have voted for 50 basis points this week. All people on list for Fed chair are good. Neutral rate is still very low, maybe 3.25%, and 75 basis point cuts by year end would be significant. Yeah, I think we're going to do 25 basis point cuts this year. He also said the Fed's decision was good, and it looks like a sequence of 3 to year end. Yeah, I never do good on quad witching day. I mean, I'm going to do good today. I'm going to put that out into the universe, but I don't know. Robinhood's still at 120s. Huge move. Take a look at it. Okay, so Robinhood has had here's its EPS. All right, so here's Robinhood. It's had okay, so it's had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 profitable quarters in a row. Best margins, maybe. What's their revenue like? Revenue looks okay in terms of trend. How much is this? Their billion revenue. The revenue looks okay in terms of trends. Robinhood has a PE ratio of 60 right now, which, I mean, is not uncomparable to other stocks, but it's a 60 PE ratio nonetheless. A PE ratio above 30 indicates growth expectations, but it's crucial to compare it to the company's industry average. Anyone not surprised there's dibs post rate cut? I mean, yeah, generally the market from rate cuts is buy the rumor, sell the news, but long term it typically goes up. Like the initial reaction, and again, originally I would say we got a flat to green reaction from this one, from this 25 basis point cut. Yeah, and we're green from this rate cut. So just to put this into perspective, right? If we take a look at the NASDAQ here, rate cuts showed up here. So rates were cut here, and this is where we are now. So it's not like we're getting dips. We're green from the rate cuts. It's not like we're red from the rate cuts. We're green. All right, see if we get a bounce on gold. Hold on. No, I don't have any Meta. I like Meta. I think their AI is good, but and I think they're smart. They're getting into hardware, smart glasses, all this different stuff. I think they're doing really well there, and that's causing some growth. They're just so high up right now, man. They're at around all-time highs. They're at almost $800 a share. I'd prefer to buy things and average into them, but SoFi thoughts. The SoFi's done really well this year, and I think SoFi's growing a lot. If we take a look at SoFi here, again, I'm not telling you to buy any of this. I don't know, but SoFi's had a lot of growth this year. Here's a yearly chart for SoFi. Here's where 2025 started here, and this is where SoFi is. So they're up 100% this year, basically almost 100%. They started the year at 15. They're at 28 right now, so almost 100% gains for SoFi. So very big gains. Very big gains. All right, so EU proposes expanded sanctions on Russian shadow fleet. Their EU's von der Leyen said banning imports to the European Union of Russian LNG. U.S. ambassador to NATO Whitaker says Ukraine has taken some territory back. Again, the former Fed's Bullard said for Doves, 25 this week and 25 in October is almost as good. I would not have voted for 50. And so that's where we're at now. Again, Nvidia and Intel still reeling from the big collaboration that they had earlier this week. Nvidia is still up from it, I guess. Let me see. When did they announce this collaboration? Was it yesterday or the day before? I have to go check. Again, Taiwan committed to buying $10 billion in U.S. agriculture over the next 4 years. Banking stocks. I mean, you can look at JP Morgan. They've been doing really well since the beginning of September. Generally, yes. But it varies for sure. All right, guys. Again, it's a little bit slower today. We don't have a ton of data coming out today. We do have something dropping right at 9 o'clock this morning. We do have something dropping right at 9, which is the New York Fed. What is it called? Yeah, and as for the bank picture, it depends on how the size of the bank. Smaller banks typically do worse when rate cutting cycle is generally a headwind to small banks. Direct impact on their net interest margins. You know, worse interest rates means they don't earn as much. But big banks can benefit from it. So it really just depends. If we're looking at public banks, you know, a lot of the time they can benefit from it. And again, European Commissioner President von der Leyen says the EU is increasing the pressure on Russia with our 19th package of sanctioning covering energy, financial services, and trade restrictions. Yeah, the data's light today, guys. Bullard said the dot plot has problems. Favor a Fed forecast instead. Yeah, I think robotics companies, I've said this many times, I think the next big money pull in markets is going to be robotics. I think they're going to start implanting AI into robots, and then we're going to start to see, and we already are seeing this, but it's going to get better and better and better over the next 10 years probably. And so, you know, we're kind of trending towards that, I think. And I think that's going to be I think a lot of big money is going to get pulled into that, because that's the next step here. You know, considering where AI is now in robotics, I think that's obviously the next step. Yeah, I'm in gold. We've gone sideways for a little bit, but honestly, this is such a small trade. My risk is way down here. It's 2 micros. So, like, you know, we're in it. I'm hoping we rebound. I like trading the range of gold sometimes. But I got to just kind of wait for it. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. It's all right. How to deal with hatred in your heart that burns and consumes relationships? I mean, that's a deep question, sir. I would probably say stop being insecure about it. That would be my responses. Stop being insecure. Focus on yourself, bro. Who cares what other people are doing? All right, so $4.35 billion worth of Bitcoin and ETH options expire today. 4.35 billion. All right, so we're starting to break down. Again, I'm waiting here, but I'm not going to sit on this forever. I'll probably start scaling out as we get closer to my stop level. I've got a protective stop up there. Yeah, he might have elated. That's true. All right, guys, it's quad witching day. We'll see what we get. Triple witching day. It's honestly kind of slow right now, man. We're not really getting that. It's after the FOMC meeting. We don't really have any data coming out. Gold's still breaking down here, so. But it's a little bit of both. I call it quad witching just out of habit, but it's really triple witching day. It's a day when stock options, and index futures expire. There's no such thing as the fourth one, which is why it was quad, which is single stock futures. There's no such thing as that anymore. So technically it's triple witching, and that's what we call it. But I'm so used to calling it quad witching that's what I do anyway. Yeah, so we do have some stock news that are influencing things here. But again, markets are kind of NASDAQ's pushing up though. Look at the NASDAQ. So FedEx, the shipping giant, shares are in focus. The company announced it anticipates a significant financial impact from U.S. tariffs. FedEx reported better than expected earnings. If we take a look at FedEx here, positive reaction initially, and now it's kind of dipping down some. Lennar, Goldman raises Tesla price target for Tesla. Lennar, which is a home builder under pressure, reporting a decline in profits for the 4th consecutive quarter and missing sales expectations. You can see Lennar is down this morning. That's the big news in stocks. Intel is, you can see it's slightly red. It's slightly red, but it's correcting a little bit. It's bounced back up some. It's over 30 still, though. So that's the movement in stocks that I'm seeing today. A lot of oil news coming out. I have no idea what gold's going to do. Genuinely no idea. Yeah, we can take a look at yields. Yields are actually a little elevated today, guys. So if we take a look at 10-year treasuries, they're actually a little elevated. They're up to 4.14% here. So look at yields. So they are elevated today. They're up a lot since the Fed meeting. The Fed meeting, just to put this into perspective, we cut rates here. But you got to think of it as like buy the rumor, sell the news in regards to yields, right? Like we cut rates here. And yields moved down leading into this whole thing. And now that rates are cut, 25 basis points, it wasn't 50, all that stuff. Yields are now climbing higher. And so now they're at 4.145% for 10-year treasury yields. And remember, yields and interest rates, there's a positive correlation between yields and interest rates. Bond prices, on the other hand, have done the opposite thing. And you can see like longer term bond prices decreasing over the last few days as well. So that's kind of yields and interest rate movements. AMD still down. Apple up pretty big today. Look at Apple up to 240s right now, testing this kind of triple looking double top area. So we're watching that as well. Over 240s for Apple. NASDAQ climbing higher here. And again, we are long in gold short term. Very small trade though. Yeah, so the Bank of Japan this morning concluded its two-day policy meeting. It decided to end its negative interest rate policy. It raised its short-term policy rate from negative 0.1% to a range of 0 to 0.1%. It's the first rate hike in 17 years. It's a historic move. The first time the Bank of Japan has raised interest rates since 2007, ending the world's last negative interest rate. Abolishing the yield curve control, the bank also announced it would scrap its complex yield curve control program, which was used to cap long-term government bond yields. It will continue to purchase government bonds as needed to prevent any sharp rise in long-term rates. It's also ending its ETF purchases. That will discontinue their purchases of exchange-traded funds, ETFs, in Japan's real estate investment trust, JREITs. They did have a dovish tone, even though they did raise rates. Despite these major steps towards policy normalization, Governor Kazuo struck a cautious or dovish tone in his press conference. So, balanced, but yeah. Markets have kind of priced that in already, though, that they were going to end the negative rates. So the reaction wasn't the biggest. Yen actually went down against the dollar following the announcement. Guidance suggested that future rate hikes are not imminent, and the Nikkei 225 stock index has been volatile so far. It fell and then recovered. You invested in Intel 25 years ago, you'd be up a little bit. Yeah, no, I remember trying to buy Intel years ago. If I would have held this whole time, I would have made money, but I don't think I would have the guts to hold that. It's a risky hold there. It really is. It's a risky hold. Japanese rates are interesting. You have something called the carry dynamic regarding Japanese interest rates, right? And so essentially what happens is that investors in the US market like to take advantage of Japan's low interest rate environment. And so what they'll do is they'll use leverage from the low interest Japanese yen, and they'll use it to buy up a bunch of US assets with it. Because it's such a low interest rate thing, it's a cheaper leveraged, position. And so as they get more and more hawkish over there in Japan, that dynamic changes a little bit. And in some instances, it can wildly affect US markets. And like we had the carry trade dynamic not that long ago that wildly influenced things. But, it depends on the context of what's going on. All right, gold spiking up a little bit. Again, I think I'm just going to sit in gold right here. See if there's any news to cover this. Yeah, they're saying Shanghai is super into buying the Apple 17 right now. Look, this is Jim Cramer posted this picture from the Apple store in Japan. Or, not Japan, China. Gold pumping up though, let's see if it holds. Yeah, sorry, I was talking about Japan regarding interest rates, but China. Really into buying the iPhone 17, look at this. Told you option expire, we will have more impact short term than the FOMC. Do you think markets are incredibly volatile today, sir? I cover triple witching day every day, but markets are pretty flat right now, brother. Go for the same as yesterday, down at the open, then we finish green, rinse and repeat. That's not unreasonable, I think. Yeah, we cover triple witching, quad witching every single 4 times a year. Most of the time, we get a pretty flat market from it, realistically. Most of the time. And I would say that's the opposite of the Fed dynamic. Generally speaking, the Fed decision, especially if it's in terms of cuts, moves markets more, I would say, than quad or triple witching, whatever you want to call it. I feel like people just want to argue and they want validation on the internet, and so they just kind of, like, who knows, man? There's variance with everything. But in general, when I look back at the last multiple triple witching days, we're pretty flat. It's Friday, All right, so the US president and the Chinese president, Xi, are holding their call right now. So that's going on right now. U.S. president, Chinese president holding their call right now. Have you looked at Lyft? Yeah. Lyft is okay. It's up a lot though. It's at 22.20s. It's kind of it's been lagging behind Uber. Is the obvious dynamic of Lyft right now. Maybe if they get involved, I think they were getting involved with like Waymo and Robotaxis, and that's cool. And if they do that successfully, that's great. But because of that, I'm not the biggest interested party in buying Lyft as a company. Although it has done pretty good this year, really. And I guess it depends on how many shares they have. Quantum really a long term? short answer, and I'm going to preface this with I am not an investment professional. I'm not liable if you lose money. I have no idea what I'm talking about half the time, and, you know. But probably is my answer to that. Probably. Quantum's probably the future, but you never know. It's still too early to tell, to be honest, but it's getting big money and interest, so it's probably the future, but it's too early to really tell. I'm gonna make the NASDAQ a little bit larger here, to be honest, guys. Here's the NASDAQ on the right. Yeah, so quantum's probably the future, but there's some crazy valuations there right now. Which it doesn't mean we're not going to keep going up either. Like, it's certainly possible we continue to rise. It's just, you know, they're up a lot already. Oh, I'm definitely top 3 most biased ever here, you know. Looking up some news for you guys. I would wait to see if we get any big news regarding the US president and the Chinese president speaking right now. They're on a call right now. And I'm waiting to see news on this. So, stand by. I don't know when it's going to end, when we're going to get news, but I'm waiting for it. Yeah, I'm in PayPal right now as well. I'm in, again, the last few, I'll tell you guys what I've bought the last few months. I have bought HIMS, very green on HIMS, mostly out of it as well, but I'm holding a small little piece. I'm in PayPal, green on PayPal, mostly out of it as well. I'm holding, and these are short-term swing trades. I'm holding a decent amount of cash in TBIL ETF, just kind of earning the monthly dividend from that. And I'm in Target, which I'm currently red on, but I'm pretty sure I'm net green on the overall position. I've also bought, what else did I buy? I bought Marvell a couple weeks ago and got out yesterday deep in the profits. It's still up though, but you know, we got out at like 73s from like 62s, and so I think that's a really nice trade. We were also in, what else did we buy? We bought United Health at like 240. A week after we bought it, Warren Buffett and Berkshire Hathaway announced that they bought it, which obviously benefited the position. We got out in the low 330s. We bought, what else did we bought? We bought Apple like a month ago. Short-term swing trade, but we made some money from that one too. We bought Amazon as well like a month or two ago. Short-term swing trade, made some money in that one. I'm trying to think of all the swing trades I've gotten in. Anything else that you guys remember me buying? I know I bought some more stuff. I just can't remember what I was in. I can check my history here. Look back at. All right, so since July is where we're gonna use this range of trades. We bought. Where's the actual symbols here? Oh. How in the world are you not going to show me the actual symbol? Okay, yeah, we bought S&PS. I forgot about S&PS. We bought S&PS, really nice swing trade. Made money on that one. So far, swing trades, S&PS, Marvell, United Health, Amazon, Crocs. We bought Crocs, made money on Crocs as well. I forgot about that. We bought, yeah, so I think that's it. Crocs, Marvell, S&PS, United Health, HIMS, Amazon, Apple, and Target, PayPal. And yeah. But not bad. I think we made money on every single one of those. I'm not 100% sure. I'll have to go check. But I think we've made money on almost every single one of those. The only one that's iffy and questionable is Target. But I'm pretty sure we cut Target a lot of it at the high 99, at the high 90s. And so we're still holding a little piece. It's at like 89 something now, but I'm pretty sure we made money on that one as well. We're definitely net green from all of these. I'm in a very small position of HIMs, and so the logic of it is like we're already up big. We're just gonna sit on the rest. Very small position. I definitely didn't buy Lululemon. If anything, I don't like Lululemon at all. I think that dynamic is changing, and I've been, again, if anybody's watched my stream for a long time, like years, I've been saying the same thing about Lululemon for 2 to 3 years now, at least 2 to 3 years. I would say maybe longer than that. I don't like Lululemon at all. I didn't like it 3 years ago. I didn't like it 2 years ago because I thought the dynamic would change. I thought that people wouldn't be interested in it. It got big after the lockdowns when everybody's stuck at home and leisure wear was really big, but that dynamic was not going to stay there. And so that's bad for Lululemon if that dynamic doesn't stay there, and I thought it was pretty predictable that it wouldn't. People are going to move on. Generations change. They don't want to wear what their parents wear, and, you know, a lot of millennials wear Lululemon. And so I thought they were going to lose sales, lose interest, and they did. I should have shorted it. If I could go back in time, I would short it, of course, in hindsight, but yeah, Lululemon dropped from almost $500 a share down to $169. Over the last 2 years, it's down from 516 to 169, almost 150s. So if I could go back in time, I would have shorted. Do I like to buy it right now? I don't know, dude. You get a little flimsy hat, it's $100. I've been there, you know. Ironically, I kind of wear some Lululemon stuff, you know. I'll say it once, I'll say it again, though. I think it's a freaking placebo effect. You know, so they go out there and they put a bunch of marketing out there and they're like, ooh, look how comfortable these are. And so anybody that doesn't even think about this when they put on, you know, gym pants, as soon as they put on Lululemon pants, they've had people telling them over and over again, look how comfortable this is. Look how comfortable this is. And so they start paying more attention to it. So they're like, wow, these are comfortable. Like, bro, you go buy some of these from Academy. Some shorts from Academy. They'd feel exactly the same as Lululemon. It's a placebo effect so that they can charge more for their product. 100%. I'm not saying they're not comfortable, but they're not significantly more comfortable than their competition. And again, I think people are just told it's comfortable, so they think about it more when they wear it. All right, guys. We don't have any 8:30 data. We do have yeah, well, they're listed on the public market. Again, regardless of where they're based in, I'm just talking about the dynamic of interest, you know. All right, guys, so we're in gold. We're green on gold now. We're not significantly green, but just to protect, I think I'm going to take half off right here, just to lock in profits. That way I can sit on the rest and really not worry about it. Gold hasn't been the most consistent mover, but yeah, we'll wait on it now. So I've heard they already started their call. V. I got news earlier. Kashkari speaking, he says, does not see erosion in the Fed credibility to hit inflation target. Fed is not okay with 3% inflation and is confident that the Fed can return it to 2%. Yeah, but a broader easing cycle is not really going to help you return that inflation rate to 2%. I mean, I think that's very obvious. We'll see. We'll see. But yeah, I got news at 8:05 market time. 8:05 market time, that U.S. and Chinese President Xi are holding their call. The U.S. President and the Chinese President are holding their call. Yeah, I bring up Lululemon a lot because I think it's important for people to understand how to think about different stocks and investments, right? Like I used to talk about this a lot. I don't talk about it as much anymore, but whenever you buy a stock, before you buy it, there's a couple things you need to do, especially if it's long term. You need to do a thought experiment and say, okay, what are the risks for this company long term? If it's a fashion company, you need to question whether it's still going to be fashionable to wear or use whatever product they have in 5 to 10 years. If it's not, you might not want to hold it long term in your portfolio. And again, there's always going to be outliers, but I think it's important to have that type of dynamic. You got to question obsolescence in technology as well. You got to see whether certain tech companies are going to go obsolete, and you got to question all of that stuff before you buy something long term. I think depends on how long you're planning on holding it, but long term, I mean 10 plus years. I don't know if the call started. I got a news report again at 8:05 market time, so roughly 15 minutes ago, that the U.S. president and the Chinese president are holding their call now. I don't know if that's true. That's the news I got. All right, so Google readies the European Union offer after a €3 billion fine and skips full split. Again, Kashkari just said politics did not enter the Fed's conversation this week. Moran's arrival was like any other transition to a new governor. He said, I'm not sure how many more cuts would be needed to get to neutral. It's possible that cutting the short-term rates will not translate into lowering long-term rates. And he said, I'm more confident that tariffs will have a one-time effect and that they'll be temporary, essentially. He said important underlying components of inflation, including housing and non-housing services, do seem to be coming down. And that's where we're at now regarding Kashkari. AMD's pretty much flat. They had the news that Nvidia and Intel were collaborating earlier in the week, and they have been kind of up and down since then, but mostly down. They dropped a lot when that news initially came out, because you got to think in terms of GPUs CPUs, Intel is one of their main competitors. Like if you go buy a PC right now or a laptop or whatever, you're going to have two options mostly. You're going to have Intel CPU, Intel processors, or you're going to have AMD processors. AMD or processors is kind of like the new kid on the block for processors. Intel's been around a lot longer, but AMD's been catching. Like I've got this laptop right here. One of my work laptops, and it has an AMD processor in it, right? So AMD's been catching up to Intel, and so one of the biggest tech companies in the world, if not the biggest, Nvidia, collaborating with Intel is not seen as a good thing for AMD, and it's still net down from this news. You can see AMD news right here. And if I neutral this out a little bit, here's where that news came out for AMD. This has been one of the biggest stories of the last day or two. You can see AMD is down significantly originally from this news, and then it kind of creeped back up, and then it corrected back down. It's about right here now. So we also had some other, we had like ARM correct negatively down. Still, it's net down from this news as well. It's at 140s right now. What was the other one? Was it MU? No, it wasn't MU. It was AMD. What was the other microchip company? It was Taiwan Semiconductors. It was TW. It was TSM. But TSM got bought back up yesterday at the opening bell, and I would say it's pretty much neutral from this report. Initial jobless claims were yesterday. They're not today. Jobless claims are not this morning. Jobless claims were yesterday. Yeah, it's Nvidia and Intel collabing that dropped microchips. Yeah, I think initial claims came in noticeably lower. From the top of my head, I'm pretty sure initial claims showed up at 231,000 versus around 240, 241K expected. So less unemployment filings week to week than expected, showed stronger economic growth, is what jobless claims showed up yesterday. Yeah, we're about flat on this gold trade, but gold did stop the downward trend since then, and it's now chopping sideways. So maybe we'll get a gold bounce, but we're basically flat. We took some profit, and now we're red on the remaining position. I'm just trying to sit here longer term. I don't know. Intel, it really depends. There's a lot of dynamics that might influence where we go, and so I really don't know. Still looking up other news. Kashkari still speaking. He said, I am confident underlying inflation will head down. There's a lot of confidence that tariff level will stay around where they are, but it will take a couple years for the economy to adjust. He said, I am not hearing any anecdotes of much hiring or firing. Firms are on pause, which means the job market is fragile right now. Coming cuts would amount to insurance to keep the labor market steady, and that is not a bad labor market, but merits close attention. He also said, I am confident that housing services inflation will fall and that I hope the economy booms and productivity surges, but it's hard to forecast that or base policy around that. And so... yeah, we also had news from Apple that the Chinese buyers say new iPhone 17 scratches easily. And they report the iPhone 17 lineup scratches quickly, sharing photos of damaged devices on social media. The issue appears worse on the deep blue iPhone 17 and Pro Max and the black iPhone Air, with scuffs seen on store display units in Hong Kong and Shanghai. A related Weibo hashtag drew 40 million plus views on Friday, so it's unclear how widespread the problem is, but that iPhone 17, Apple's first major redesign in years, uses an aluminum shell marketed as more scratch resistant, and that might not necessarily be the case. So yeah, that's the breaking news I'm showing right now. See if Apple is responding to this news. Apple's still up a lot this morning. Yeah, you see the NASDAQ is really sideways right now. It's really choppy. And remember, like, today is triple witching day. NASDAQ dipping. Apple's still pushing up despite this news that just came out for it. Kashkari says, I am bullish on AI, but also could be that diffusion of technology takes longer than proponents suggest and don't see much evidence of labor impact. You guys agree with Kashkari here? Yeah, so we got a lot of different major contract types expiring today. So AM settled contracts expire at market open, which is index futures and index options. Single stock options expire at the closing bell today. That's why you get maybe 2 different spikes in volatility on triple witching. We'll see what the opening bell looks like. A lot of the time, I'm not the best trader of triple witching. We will see. We got about 900 people here already. Hey, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. I appreciate you guys joining me for all the big streams. You guys know I'm going to cover the market data as soon as we get it, and I appreciate it. Again, a lot of people are waiting to see what the call between the Chinese President Xi and U.S. President, what that looks like. That's going to be a lot of potential optimism or fear sprouting from that. Yeah, I'm trying to catch yeah, just ban the this one. I think this guy, I think you're actually right too. If you're trying to pump up a penny stock and you're just kind of regurgitating some pre-written pump message, I'm gonna ban you guys. You're not gonna get any real influence from penny stocks here, I think, but we don't have enough people that trade them. And understand, like, most of these things are sketchy that people are pushing in the chat. They're probably trying to pump them. Look, I'm gonna actually do the opposite. Do not buy any of the stuff they're trying to pump, because they're almost certainly terrible companies. Like, look at this company's long-term yearly trend here. This is one of the worst looking companies I've ever seen. Don't do it. All right. Like, imagine how desperate somebody has to be to go from stream to stream promoting a penny stock. They've got to be really desperate. They've got to be underwater is what they've got to be here, because these do not look good. Do not look good. So just be careful. So at 9 o'clock, and again, I'm trying to make sure this is accurate, right? At 9 o'clock, I think we have some type of release at 9. Look at the NASDAQ still pushing here, guys. So NASDAQ here, all-time high is 24,816. We still got a ways here. 816 here is the all-time high on the NQ. Yeah, so in 30 minutes, the New York Fed's DSG model update should happen. That gives some economic projections, and so we'll see if the projections are good. Hard to tell. That's at 9 o'clock. Super bullish. Yeah, let me know if you're bull or bear. Put it in chat right now, bull or bear. There's 8:30. Canadian retail sales dropped negative 0.8% versus expected negative 0.8% as expected. Core retail sales negative 1.2 versus negative 0.7 expected. So worse than expected Canadian core retail sales. The Russell is ripping up, man. It's up to almost 2,500 a share. I don't really like the Russell personally, but I'm not mad if you're making money on it. Here's the Russell. Intel almost green on the day. Hey, thank you, Jess. Appreciate it. All right. Bullish next week. Next week's interesting. Why'd you ban them? Hold on, let me see. Is there any reason you just banned them on? I think you banned the wrong person. Yeah, sorry, Just Q. Accidental ban. You should be unbanned right now. Might see a massive move today to the upside. Don't know if it'll be sustained. Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting day. It's quad witching day. We'll see what happens. Triple witching day, whatever. At the opening bell, we get some options expiring, or some contracts expiring, I should say. We get futures, and then we get, I believe, index options expiring at the open, but. And then at the end of the day at 4 p.m. we get single stock options expiring. Oh, gotcha. Hey, what's up, Details? What do you think about next week? I think next week's interesting. We got Jerome Powell doing a speech about economic outlook on Tuesday. We have PCE inflation on Friday. We have GDP finalized on Thursday. We got a bunch of other data releases next week as well. We got manufacturing and services PMI. We got we got a lot of different stuff next week. Next week will be interesting. After this Fed meeting last week as well, so it'll be interesting. We could see big moves. You see inflation or the job market is more of a risk. Honestly, I think right now it's not about I mean, there's risks to both. I would say the labor market, considering the past 3 months, 2 months, is probably the bigger risk. As long as we can ease effectively into it, hopefully that'll fade a little bit. But I think they're both risky. Yeah. Hey, bud. How you doing, man? Love you, buddy. Good day. Have a good day, dude. You alright? Alright, bud. Love you, man. Alright. Gold is flat here since I bought it. It's flat, it's boring, it's not really doing anything. I love you. Sorry, messing up your hair, I'm sorry. Look, I'm a dad, that's what I do here. Okay. I love you. Yeah, it looks great. Alright, I love you. Everybody worried about AI taking jobs? Yeah. Yeah, I think we get an October rate cut. All right, so Google is going to reportedly propose changes to ad tech business after European Union fine, according to Bloomberg. We also have Johnson & Johnson come out that said some of their treatments demonstrate promising rates in patients with multiple myeloma diagnosis. Very flat right now, and honestly, most things. NASDAQ is sideways. Pushing up, though. I'm ready for the cold, to be honest. I like sweater weather, but we'll see. Honestly, no offense to you all, but I'm ready for the weekend. You know. Who we get? No. Again, we do have that report that comes out. People are talking about a GameStop squeeze. GameStop's been moving up, honestly. I'm not really the big believer in it. But I think they've done some right things. Cohen's the CEO. I think that's good. But yeah, I mean, I'm in the South. The problem with winter is this. I love the holiday seasons. I love fall. I love December. By the time January hits, I'm over it, though. And in January, I'm usually just kind of like, all right, let's get rid of this cold now. By January, I'm ready for some warmer weather, you know? I mean, granted, I live in South Texas, and I'm from South Louisiana, and so half the Christmases or holidays are warm. The worst feeling ever. You wake up Christmas Day, it's hot outside. It really feels terrible, you know? Nothing will push you out of the holiday mood, but, you know, faster than 85-degree holiday weather. But yeah. All right, guys. Nasdaq trying to push up. It's at 24.75s right now in the NQ. Yeah, I spent Christmas in Canada a couple times. It was nice. I couldn't go anywhere, and when I drove, it was almost an accident every 30 seconds. It was nice. Yeah, quad witching day here. I'll put it at the bottom. I think this will be easier. All right, there you go. The explanation of triple witching day, or I should say triple. There you go. And there's now an explanation for triple witching day at the bottom scroller. Here, guys. Yeah, but I also recognize, like, I travel to Michigan usually at least once a year. I also recognize that the winters up there have got to be rough. Snow, boring, you know. There's no sunlight. And so it's just rough, I'm sure. All right, guys, we got about 50 minutes until the opening bell. Let's see what we get. A little bit quieter today for sure. All right, so the SEC chair Adkins on quarterly reporting says have talked to the president about it and market can decide what proper cadence is. In a CNBC interview, in principle, proposing change is a good way forward, then we'll consider. Are you guys supportive or against the change from quarterly to twice a year? I'm personally against it, but yeah. And if you are for or against it, let me know why. He said, I talked to the president about semi-annual reporting. In principle, proposing change a good way forward, then we'll consider. Retail versus professional investors. Information is more broadly disseminated today. Yeah, so the White House Trump and President Xi phone call started at 8 a.m. Eastern time, which again was 45 minutes ago, as I said. We'll see if we get big breaking news from this or not. When does sunset happen? On 12/21 in South Texas? If you think I know that off the top of my head, no, I don't. Google. You could probably Google that just as easy as I can. All right, guys. I'll update you on this gold trade. It's starting to not look as good, but again, we're basically flat in this position so far. I'm gonna put the NASDAQ back up because I think it's more relevant. And look at that rejection we got at my level here, right around 50, 55. If the SEC chair is still speaking. He is. He said investors will demand information cadence. Now is a good time to look at companies reporting. Yeah, like I said, I'm against it personally. You know. Look, we're at 735s. Maybe we bounce there. India and New Zealand are going to hold next round of trade talks in New Delhi on 13th and 14th of October. Bank of America says Intel and the Nvidia deal could help AMD, actually. Intel's partnership with Nvidia has pressured AMD shares, but Bank of America says the impact may be positive for AMD. I wonder how much AMD shares Bank of America has. Anyways, Bank of America raised Intel's price target to 34, neutral, but kept AMD at a buy with a $200 price target, citing AI growth and CPU share gains. Analysts argue x86 success could benefit both Intel and AMD, even if some of AMD's cloud edge fades. Intel's projects with Nvidia will take years given AMD's near-term momentum, and Intel risks distraction from managing Nvidia, SoftBank, and U.S. government ties. Still relies on Nvidia for graphics, leaving AMD stronger in PCs. Is the news I just got. Do you guys agree with this? Yes and no. It depends on the time frame we're looking at. I should have bought this level here. Look at this level. I'll put gold back up here. Should have bought it. Look at that. Top 3 levels ever. Yeah, they're just getting rid of the requirements. Some companies are going to run are going to want to report quarterly anyway. Now it's a lot more red tape and work, but some companies I'm sure will still do it. They're just changing the requirement from 4 to 2. All right, guys. Speaking of that, AMD is still what? Pretty sideways. I mean, it regained some of this strength it just made, but still not doing everything it can. Still down a little bit net from the Intel and Nvidia collaboration news a few days ago. Adkins says on disclosure rules on public markets, we will have proposals soon. And the SEC, again, is proposing a rule change on the president's call to end quarterly earnings reporting on CNBC for Chair Adkins. Yeah, I mean, the markets will probably have bigger swings when companies report if it's only twice a year. Just logically looking at it, I'm sure reporting twice a year would make it much more influential because it, you know, it consolidates the interest instead of in 4 times a year. It's less diluted, and so it's only 2 times a year now. And in that regard, we might get bigger swings, especially for the big Mag 7 companies that move markets now. Yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty reasonable to conclude. Again, I think some companies are still going to do it. Why is today triple witching? Read the bottom of the screen. Triple witching is the 3rd Friday of the month. March, June, September, and December is when it happens. Any thoughts on the symbol? I mean, it's a penny stock that's getting pumped up big. You just want to be careful. Like, look, I know, and I explained this dynamic a lot, but pump and dumps happen in the stock market, okay? And one of the things that you'll see a lot of the time is you'll see penny stock gurus on social media. They'll give you a list of like 4 different symbols. And if one of those symbols runs big, they'll be like, see, I called this, right? They didn't really call it. They just gave you a list of stocks that were volatile in the morning. But again, a lot of them will sell courses on how to profit from this. And what they're targeting is they're targeting new traders that lack knowledge in markets, right? Like none of the stuff they're going to teach you in those courses is going to have any type of significant effect in you trading penny stocks. The variance is so high in penny stocks, right? Like meaning a penny stock might run up big, get halted, and then drop 60-70% immediately, right? The acting like there's some big significant edge day trading penny stocks, there almost certainly isn't, and it's just a good way for new traders to lose their accounts in the market. I mean, I think new traders are going to lose regardless, but most day traders lose, especially in penny stocks, and it's a market that I started in. And so, number one, you never need to buy anybody's course or mentor program there. They're just kind of taking advantage of new traders that don't have that much bankroll. And so it's confirmation bias. They want to believe there's an edge trading the cheapest securities in the world because they don't have enough money to buy the big boy companies anyway. And so it's somewhere like that. But just be careful in those markets, man. You're going to hear a lot of like algorithms or fake accounts pump up penny stocks. If somebody needs to go from stream to stream promoting a penny stock, again, imagine how underwater they must be in that stock. It's not going to usually significantly influence the stock, and they've just got to be desperate, and misery loves company. So they're trying to pull as many people in as they can into these terrible companies. Just understand, this thing might be up big, maybe it holds. Look at the long-term trend. What this shows is that this thing has been diluted and diluted and diluted. Right? Or actually, no, I think this is actually reverse splits. So Look at the price. Yeah, so just be careful. Most penny stocks will fail. You got a bunch of people promoting them like they're great long-term investors. The biggest mistake people make with these, to be honest, is that they treat them like they're Amazon and Apple, and they think they're investing into something, and they end up thinking they're doing something in markets. The reality is, most of the time, these stocks will go down over time. You just don't take the sucker's bet and buy them. Most of the again, do whatever you want to do. But understand what I'm telling you. I'm not a hater. I have no reason to tell you this except for I'm trying to protect you from. And most day traders are going to lose regardless. Just to put this out there. But the variance in penny stocks is very, very high. Very, very high. All right, so gold's getting a little boost here. It's at 36.80s. Atkins done speaking. All right, so JP Morgan says Samsung wins Nvidia nod. Samsung has reportedly secured Nvidia qualifications for its 12-layer HBM3E chips after earlier failed attempts. Supply will be limited at first, making Samsung the third approved supplier after SK Hynix and Micron. JP Morgan says the move is significant given Nvidia's dominance in AI, and that Samsung's spare clean room capacity could let it scale production quickly, boosting demand for ASML's EUV tools in 2026 and 2027. The approval also strengthens Samsung's path towards HBM4 qualifications and future equipment investments and more. I'm not telling you what to do, Chelsea. I have no idea where that stock's going. It could go up big. I mean, they can go up big. The first exposure I ever got to day trading was a company called DRYS. And this company went up freaking crazy amounts. It went up from like $2 to $100. And then back down to like 50 cents or something like that within a day or two. And so understand, they can go up big. They can also fail big as well. My gold trade's doing nice right now. We're up decent in this little gold trade. Kind of changed and averaged in, but gold's ripping here. Look at this. I'm going to probably cover it here, I guess. The range is too small today. All right, so we're out. Up a decent amount of the day. That's nice. But we're right at this level for the NASDAQ, so gold, if we bounce here, could theoretically pull back, but... All right, so I'm looking at the next week. Again, we got PCE, Tokyo CPI, GDP data, quarter two, finalized GDP. Powell speaking on economic outlook. Yeah, I mean, I'm day trading gold futures. Yeah, it really went over 100. I can't remember how far away. I don't even think you can look at it anymore. Let me see. Dry. It was DRYS was the symbol. Look at the price action of this symbol here. Like, look. Look at the price action of this thing. Look how much this thing was diluted. Look at this. Look at this number right here. Look at that number. And again, what, like I've said this before, what happens with these penny stocks? The reason they go up big, a lot of the time, I'm gonna allegedly, for liability reasons, allegedly, a lot of the time CEOs understand their company is crap. And so what are you gonna do if you're CEO? Are you gonna sit on the company long term and let it fade to nothing? Or in their mind, allegedly, they're gonna pump the penny stock up as much as they can, exit using everybody's liquidity at the top, make a couple million, and then ride off into the sunset, and then leave all the retail traders that are being greedy around them kind of holding the bag of losses that they inevitably take holding those penny stocks long term. Again, allegedly. Top 3 least knowledgeable about this ever. Don't copy me. But yeah. But if you go around looking at markets, what does everybody say? Oh, this is the greatest penny stock of all time. This is the next Apple, Amazon. And maybe they are. Again, maybe 1 out of 10 might be good. It's not easy to figure out. There's a lot of nonsense out there about them. There's a lot of fake news and nonsense out there about penny stocks. And people will act like they're the next big thing. And you know, new traders that don't know any better, that read these things, they're going to be like, oh, these are great companies. A lot of the time they're not. So just be careful. Yeah, good stocks don't need pumping, 100%. You know, nobody needs to talk you into buying Apple shares or Amazon shares. You just do. And so, if you see a bunch of marketing or media about why this is the next big thing and it's the next crazy penny stock to go, usually that means they're holding some. Which can maybe, you know, I don't know. Again, not an investment. Market moves money from the impatient to the patient. Yeah. Money's not made in trading, it's made in waiting. The right time to buy is when blood is running in the streets. I think it was Rockefeller that said that. Honestly, one of my favorite quotes is from the movie The Big Short. I think they said they heard it in a bar. But the quote goes, "The truth is like poetry, and most people effing hate poetry." You know? That's one of my favorite quotes. Alright, so we're sitting at 735s right now. 735s. Let's see if we bounce. If Netflix stock was going to split, what would that look like? Companies will split because they're getting too expensive and they're pricing out regular investors that they want. I believe Netflix will probably split sometime this year or next year. It's just getting really expensive. They're also getting into live sports, and I think that's good. They're getting into the NFL, and I think that's good. And really, I said this when they were at about 1,000, and now they're at 1,200. So I think the higher Netflix goes, the more probable it is that they're going to split. How the stock reacts to a split can differ. In theory, making it cheaper will allow more everyday investors to get involved, and that could propel it higher. And that's sometimes what stocks do after they split. But you'd have to wait and see. There's variance with it. Still sideways in gold. Looks like I got out right around the short-term top. Alright guys, so it's 9 a.m. We got the opening bell in 30 minutes. Yeah, I think it's time for Netflix to split too. Alright guys, so Fed funds rate, effective federal funds rate now lower. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if the poll is going to have any type of accuracy. 56% think red, though. 44% think green. MicroStrategy is the example. They split it, and after a while with rate cuts and whatnot, it 5.4x price. Yeah, I mean, I think that has to do with Bitcoin, or yeah, Bitcoin obviously too, if we're talking about MicroStrategy. It's like I got out in gold almost at the top of this recent range, so that's nice. Oh wait, we did have that 9 a.m. news come out. What was it? Hold on, let me see. The DSGE, I think is what it was called. OpenAI is rating Apple for hardware design and supply chain talent. According to the information, they have struck an agreement with Luxshare, an iPhone assembler, to produce a future OpenAI device and targeting late 26-27. Okay, guys, so I think we just got the DSGE report. Upgraded GDP growth. The forecast for Q4 25 GDP growth has been revised significantly higher to 1.4%, a big increase from the 0.3% projected in June, attributed to a stronger than expected economy in the second and third quarters. Lower inflation. The model now sees Q4 2025 PC inflation at 2.8, down from 3.4 in June, suggesting inflationary effects of recent tariffs have been less severe than the model previously anticipated. Higher natural interest rates. The model's estimate for short-run real natural rate of interest has increased across the board for 25, is now estimated at 2.6, up from 2.2 in June. Indicate the model sees the economy as having a stronger underlying fundamentals. Because the model's estimate of natural interest rates is now higher, they expect the Fed actual policy rate hasn't changed much. The model interprets the current monetary policy as being slightly accommodative for the next few quarters. And this report came out at 9 o'clock. It doesn't generally move markets, but it just dropped. Could be causing this boost of things, but the Saints are not good this year, bro. I'm mad about it. They're just not good, dude. So at 8:30 we get index and futures and index options expiring. At 8:30 this, or 9:30 this morning, I should say, from 2 to 3 p.m. Central, 3 to 4 p.m. Eastern. Single stock options expire, which is known as the witching hour for triple witching day. Look at this level right here, man. This 35 level held. Interesting that it keeps holding. Markets are mostly flat, but yeah, power hour today might get more spicy, but yeah. Saints are just not good, bro. I want them to win so bad, dude, but they are just terrible. They're just not good. I hope they come back. Last year I had way more optimism because we actually did okay the first like 2-3 games. But this year I'm just, you know, LSU, I got hope for LSU, although their offense is looking rough. Defense is looking great, but NASDAQ in a tight range. All right, guys, we got about 23 minutes until the market opens here. Next week will be fun, though. Next week's interesting for sure. Hey, do me a favor. Hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button. I appreciate it. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. I appreciate it. NASDAQ rebounding here. Where's Nvidia? Everything's so flat, man. Look at the range for everything right now. Boring. Looking for news. OpenAI struck an agreement with Luxshare and iPhone assembler to produce a future OpenAI device, according to the information. Well, that news came out like 5 minutes ago. Yeah, happy Friday. CoreWeave's interesting, an AI company. Volatile, but the problem with CoreWeave is just the volatility. If you look at it, too much volatility can be a bad thing. Like if you look at it, this thing since May, it IPO'd back here in April. Since then, it's gone from $33.50 a share up to almost 200, back down under 100, and then back up to 120. I mean, in theory, it could be a dip and we could start to see a push, but it's volatile. All right, NASDAQ getting up there. Let's watch 755's previous high of the day. So we just broke highs of the day in the NASDAQ. NASDAQ just broke highs. Google's pushing up. Broke highs, I think. Yeah. AMD's rebounding a little bit as well. Tesla's down slightly since yesterday. So the NASDAQ's pushing higher here. Gold rip. They're rejecting here at this previous high though. All right, guys, we're gonna be day trading the opening bell live in about 20 minutes. We'll see what we get. been very slow. We're green day trading gold. We bought the dip in gold. And so we've been doing all right there. Also, guys, if you want to check out Top Step, great way to help support the channel. No PDT rule in futures. You can day trade the S&P, NASDAQ, Dow, Russell, gold, some currencies. Great way to learn how to day trade. NASDAQ's still pushing up over highs. And you can day trade the NASDAQ, the S&P, the Dow, the Russell, commodities, gold, all that stuff in futures. No PDT rule. Top Step gives you a 50K demo if you want to get your feet wet with it. No PDT rule. If you pass the test, you got to make 3K in profit on the base one without losing 2K. So a reasonable 2 to 3 ratio. If you can do that, they fund you 50K, 90% split. You get to keep your first 10K prior to that split kicking in as well. If you fail, you lose 50 bucks. Great way to learn. And most day traders lose money, including here, but it's a lot cheaper to lose here. It's a lot cheaper to learn here. You can kind of learn without the burn. And again, I'll put this link up. They're a sponsor of mine. I'm biased. I get paid by them, of course, but genuinely useful for traders. Allows traders to get started for much less than it would normally take to get started. And most day traders are going to lose anyway. And so it's just a much cheaper way. And a 90% split, similar to funding your own account. You can also now reactivate your funded account. A lot of cool stuff that you got going on there. So I'll put the link up. Again, understand all this stuff on screen. I can't guarantee anything. Not an investment professional. In my opinion, it's the perfect way to learn day trading if you want to learn. You can either deposit $3 grand into your account and probably lose it, or you can try for 50 bucks, still risk something. I think you know, the latter makes way more sense. Anyways, NASDAQ's still pushing here. We can watch 765s up here. Gold is still pushing as well. That's a fun car. 670, yeah, S&P right now. You know, talk about the SPY. Yeah, SPY at 662s right now. Let me see where they're at, actually. Yeah, 662.30s. Slightly green on the SPY. The SPY is slightly green if you look at the previous close. Gold's ripping higher. Yeah, SPY is just over that previous close level, just over it. NASDAQ pumping up as well, breaking highs. Ahead of triple witching. U.S. House Speaker Johnson says the House may pass a supplemental spending bill in October to provide more money for lawmaker security. The CR includes tens of millions in this category, according to Punchbowl. Lowe's companies announced $2 billion revolting credit agreement effective 16th of September, according to an SEC filing. And Apple's bouncing back. A lot of stuff's bouncing back right now. Meta's up on the day as well. That 755 bounce right here. Markets are pretty flat though. If we take a look at like the QQQ, which is the NASDAQ here, and then we look at where it's at. NASDAQ's very green, which means tech is very green. The S&P is slightly green. Here's the previous close, and then here's the S&P. Here's the previous close on the NASDAQ. So we got a much bigger, you know, kind of gap from the close to previous close to the level here. NASDAQ still climbing up as well. Gold higher, 3680s for gold now. Day is designed for short squeezes, maybe. I appreciate the love, guys. Thanks. All right, let's watch 765 right here. Hit that subscribe button. We're very close to 166K. Very, very close. All right, look, there's 765s. Look at the Q push, too. You can see we at least respect this level a little bit. Look at the rejection, even if it's small. Doesn't mean we're not going to push over it and continue, but at least you can see where the initial rejection is. Right at this level I have on the chart. Look at that. This is why the levels I use, they work. Not always. Nothing works 100% of the time, but... I don't see any breaking news right now. We're just kind of heading into, you know, the opening bell. All right, so Wall Street Journal's Norman posts, quote, "Understand the LNG phase out is more detailed than Callis laid out. For existing contracts up to June of this year, they can continue until January of 2027. For new contracts, must end within 6 months of 19th sanction package taking effect." I'm not gonna say this is the top 3 level ever right here. Yeah, China call started at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yeah, well, I'm showing House Speaker Johnson says he is still talking to holdouts on the stopgap bill, but is optimistic the House passes it today, according to Bloomberg's Wason. Look at this level here, too. We at least make a pit stop there. Look, top 3 greatest levels of all time right here. Is this the top 3? OpenAI considering developing glasses, voice recorders, and pen devices, aiming to expand its tech products. Yeah, I think from my experiences with AI, OpenAI is good on some things and terrible on others, right? Again, I've said this once, I'll say it again. I like other AI systems more. OpenAI, the problem is that it will, when it queries things, a lot of the time it doesn't confirm the accuracy behind it as well as others, right? So it'll just kind of feed you some nonsense, unfortunately. Other AI systems, I like Gemini a lot. Gemini is pretty accurate, does well at summarizing, does a lot of the same things OpenAI does, but in a more effective way, in my opinion. But I think OpenAI, what it has going for it is the widespread use, right? Like, people use OpenAI regularly. But on a personal preference, I like Gemini a little bit more in terms of accuracy. Buy still pushing up. All right, guys, we got 9.5 minutes. So it's 765s now. Again, I don't like the retest of any of these levels, but S&P still pushing up, NASDAQ still pushing up, gold pushing up still too. Again, OpenAI is still thinking about making glasses, a voice recorder, and pen. Again, earlier, OpenAI struck an agreement with Luxshare, an iPhone assembler, to produce a future OpenAI device. OpenAI targeting late 26 and 27 for first release. Alright, so we just broke highs of the day again. We were at 766. Yeah. I'm just gonna delete it just to be safe, Corey. I appreciate you here, you know. But maybe I'm overcautious, but I'm just gonna do that for now. Alright, we're up to 767s. Broke highs. 7 minutes into the opening bell now. I think Meta's already pretty ahead on the smart glasses as well, so unless they do something wildly different or more innovative, which is possible, you know, I think Meta's got a pretty good head start, already partnering with big glasses brands and other stuff, you know. Alright, we're at 760s now. We did a little liquidity grab up here so far. We might continue up, but again, I'm waiting to the open and bell to trade. I'm green on the day, buying a dip in gold. We're out now. I'm just going to wait for the opening bell. Opinions on Netscape? The browser company from the 90s? Don't get me started talking about Netscape again. I love that story. I think it's a fun story in tech, but kind of shows you the history of the internet and what it looked like and how Microsoft got to where it is now. Netscope, you mean? Yeah. Calls on AOL. What about Enron? Is that still available? Calls on Enron? Yeah, Netscope. S-K-O-P-E is what he's talking about. NTSK is the symbol. It IPO'd yesterday. Whoa. Breaking, some news just came out, I think. Unless, oh no, this is the market on open. Nasdaq bumped over all-time highs again. All right, guys, 5 minutes. Yeah, this song, they just say a bunch of random words. Physics, you know. I like the beat, but I'm gonna stop yelling random words. Let's see what he says. Hold on, let me see. Air, wave, physics. Reasonable, I guess. The timer for what? We got the opening bell. We don't have any economic data. The timer's always for economic data on the channel, so. All right, so we're pulling back. You can watch 765 again. Again, I'm sitting here seeing if we're going to get volatility at the open. We've got green action so far today. We'll see if this dynamic continues. We got about 3 minutes left. No breaking news has come out, really. I think that's just the market on open volatility that we're getting. Gold's back up. Most tech is green. The Nasdaq is much more green than the S&P, although the S&P has gone green over the last 15 or 20 minutes. Nasdaq finding some strength, bouncing at 6.5 here into the opening bell in 2 minutes. Again, give me your last minute predictions, green or red at the open. Actually, we'll do a poll real quick. Hold on. This poll's got about 1,100 votes. We'll do another one. Gives me something to do while we wait. All right, vote on that poll. That poll is now live. Meta's just ripping up right now. So if you want to see some of the reason this is pushing here, look at Meta. Look at this candle. The last 5 minutes on Meta have been pretty green. Nasdaq surging up on this into the opening bell. Vote on the poll. Poll is now live. About 1 minute left, guys. Breaking highs again at 780s right now. 780s. Highs of the day. Yeah, the Nasdaq all-time high is at 816. The all-time high in the Nasdaq is right here. Roughly. Yeah, 24,816. So here's all-time highs. It's triple witching day. Market's been pretty green since the FOMC meeting. Alright guys, here's the opening bell. Hit the live button next to the play button, put it in 2x speed. You'll catch the open live with us every day. If you do that, let's see what we get. There's the bell. Nasdaq is trying to hold after pushing up leading into the open. Again, remember, a bunch of options expire today at the opening bell here. So we could get some volatility at the open. Starting to test highs. Not going to trade the first few minutes though, but let's look for volatility. Again, Meta's pushing up right now. Alright, so China merchants adjust the price target of Meta to 964 from 780 and maintain a buy rating. Earlier this morning, that could be moving Meta, but that news didn't come out recently this morning. Still waiting to see the update from the president in China. There's some big red showing up in the markets right now. Well, one asked if we would close red or green. One said, "Are you green or are you bullish or bearish for the open today?" So, plus we got more. We get like there's different people here now at the opening bell than there were early this morning, just because of time differences. And so polls may vary. Meta's breaking down. It's at 785s. Nasdaq still surging up a little bit. We're at almost 25,000 on the Nasdaq, which is kind of crazy. See if we get it, but 25K is a big number for the Nasdaq here. Question is, are we overextended right now in markets? Would you guys agree with that? Like, do you think we're overextended? I think it's possible we are, right? And again, I think sometimes the bears get mad at me because I tell people that long-term, the biggest statistical edge is on the upside, but I think that's a very self-evident stat. Long-term, or self-evident truth, I should say long-term. I think it's very obvious the biggest edge is statistically long-term, holding on the bull side. But whether we're extended now is arguable, I think, for sure. I think you can certainly argue that we're extended right now on the upside and that we need to pull back a little bit. The question is, are the fall and winter months the time for that? And I don't know. All right, so we're pretty flat at the opening bell here. We're not really doing much. Speaking of statistics, I don't think I statistically do very well on quad witching days. And so I'm green right now. I'm going to be careful today. I might buy this level here, right around the 200 exponential. What are we, 4 minutes into the day? Gold. If we can get down there, I might buy it. I'm going to buy this. There we go. See if it holds now, though. There we go. All right, I'm going to unload right there. Nice little quick trade. 200 exponential right here. Very small trade, but green nonetheless. Next week we got PCE and GDP data coming out. So that is certainly a potential big catalyst that might change things. If PCE comes out, let me give you guys some interesting looks at next week, okay? So I think people have thought that we're going to get strong GDP next week, and that's possible. We also had some labor revisions from quarter two, and next quarter's GDP data is quarter two, finalized quarter two. And so, yeah, I mean, I think either thing could happen. I think if we come out and we show, I think there's variance. I think if we come out and we show stronger GDP than expected, that could make people fearful of inflation, considering we're starting to ease, right? For quarter two. If we come out and show weaker than expected GDP, that could confirm labor market turning. And so I think we got a lot of question marks regarding not just the reactions from that data, but the data themselves, the data itself. And it'll be an interesting report. We had May and June revised down 258K jobs. And so, yeah, I'm curious to see what next week's GDP is. And PCE inflation data comes out on Friday. PCE is the Fed's preferred inflation metric. So if we get hot inflation after starting an easing cycle on Friday of next week, that could certainly cause fear and panic to set in. And then we also have Powell giving an economic outlook speech on Tuesday. So a lot of different stuff's going on next week. You guys know me. I'm going to cover all this stuff live as it happens. And we'll see what happens. Nvidia ripping up, though. Nvidia going green on the day. Nasdaq did bounce right here. Let's do an FX trade. I don't like FX. Not that I'm gonna get, I've never really tried extensively. I like futures. I like day trading the S&P and the Nasdaq. Those are markets that I know, I understand. That's what I like trading. Gold, Meta's still breaking down. Nvidia's still pushing up. We've had a lot of Apple iPhone news. Apple now pulling back a little bit at 242s. Google just came out saying for the US to keep AI leadership, the patent system must evolve. The Russell just hit highs. Kind of a slow open here for quad witching day or triple witching day. Rangy first 10 minutes of the opening bell though, guys. Let's see if we get anything better. Apple now under the VWAP. Meta down. Nvidia is actually green on the day. Let's see if it bounces right here at 176.20s. Possible it does. It's the red to green level on Nvidia right here. So if that happens, it could drive the NASDAQ a little higher. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I really don't know. It depends on what other stocks do. But there goes Nvidia. You guys red or green so far today? Yeah, we haven't got an update on the president's speaking today. So we haven't really gotten an update there. Meta down since the open. Again, this 200 exponential right here at 39 or 40 on the NQ. Flat, zero trades, green, green. That's good. NASDAQ bouncing right here at 40. Green. There's the bounce. That is also kind of extended. It's had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 red candles in a row. And so which report tomorrow, Corey? You talk about, you mean next week? Today's Friday. Thank you, Tony. Appreciate it. I try, you know. Kind of boring right now at the open, but NASDAQ wants all-time highs. I think another interesting dynamic here is we're getting close to 25K on the NQ, and here is the all-time highs on the NASDAQ. So I think whenever that much is there, I think you got a little bit more magnetism towards all-time highs than down. But either one of the two could happen. You could get either one of those things, of course. Yeah, the 200 exponential, man, I've told a lot of people about it, but again, the logic of the 200 exponential makes sense, at least for short-term range bounces, right? Like from here to here, it makes sense. Why? Because it's more consolidated of a moving average, right? You got the 9, the 12, the 20, the 27, the 28, the 35, all these different moving averages that people like. But the 200 is a long-term moving average. And so what that means is that people watch it regularly. They watch it regularly. Now it does change depending on the time frame of your chart, and I don't know why the 1 minute respects the 200 exponential, but it does, right? For small little pivots back to it, again, you can see it's right here. And if you zoom out, you'll see a pretty clear like trend of this as well on a 1 minute chart. Like, look, oh no, I moved my level. Where was this? I don't know where this was. think it was at the highs right here. Anyways, if you look back on a 1 minute chart, look at how many times this bounces at the 200 exponential. Here, here, here. This one, I don't know, but you see we push over it, hold, continue, bounce, bounce, bounce. And if you zoom in, kind of see another pullback to it right here. It's not gonna work every time, but nice little bounce area. Nvidia's still ripping up though. I mean, that's obviously helping this right now. Nvidia's breaking highs of the day at the open. Yeah, Microsoft ripping at the open along with Nvidia. Question is, do we get another bounce at like 755 or 750 right here? Here's 755s. So far ripping. Yeah, SoFi is crazy, man, this year. It's been very good. We get Meta rip back up too. Seeing a lot of bulls show up. Let's see if it holds now. Dude, I wanted to buy that dip down there. I didn't quite catch it though, unfortunately. And I will cut this quick if we don't hold here. Yeah, we gotta cut it. We're still green, very green on the day, but to break down. Gotta do another trade here. I'll show you. I'll cover this here. I was in 4 contracts. We're kind of scaling out now. We got the bounce right at 50. We'll cut it right there. So, not a bad little trade here at the bottom of the range. Kind of chopping though. Look at the last 3 or 4 minutes, man. We've been very flat. Like, look, doesn't mean we're gonna hold, but consolidation range. Yeah, AMD was green, is now dipping down though. Range is tightened up. And again, if you want to check out Top Step, beautiful way to help support the channel. No PDT in futures. You can day trade the S&P, NASDAQ, Dow, Russell, gold, some currencies. Great way to learn when most day traders lose money. It's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world if you fail it. It's $50 a month for the base one. To try the challenge, you pass it, you get a 50K funded account. 90% split, your first 10K. If you fail, you lose $50 for the base one. There's also a 100K one, 150K one. No PDT rule. You can day trade the S&P, NASDAQ, Dow, Russell, gold. Very similar to day trading stocks. Great way to learn. And most day traders are going to lose regardless of where they go. And so it's a lot cheaper to lose here and learn without as much burn than it is to fund your own account 5K and lose that. Like most new traders, including me, ended up doing something similar. I lost like $4 grand, I think. But that's how it goes. But again, they're a sponsor of mine. I'm biased. I get paid by them. I understand all this stuff on screen. I'm not an investment professional. I'm not liable if you lose money. Top 3 most biased person ever right now. NASDAQ starting to push up here, though. Yeah, a lot of people talking about Palantir. Up to 180s right now for Palantir. Big movement. Palantir still tested highs. Market's very tight range here. We've been in this range essentially since the opening bell, but a little bit larger of a range. We're getting close to this all-time, or not the high. We're getting closer to the all-time high up here, but as well as the high of the day. So again, the all-time high is here. High of the day is here. And it looks like we want to hit these 2 levels, but you never know. Sometimes you get big liquidity pulls from those levels. So just be careful. Music stop. I like Margin called it the music stop, but great movie. Nobody understood that joke. I mean, except for some people. NASDAQ is gonna go up. MicroStrategy looks like it's bouncing from the 200 exponential. NASDAQ just ripped over highs of the day, tapped 24,800 here. Look at this. Big whole dollar level. Nvidia breaking over highs this morning, almost to 177. Gold pushing up. Meta's down. Microsoft and Palantir are pretty green since the open. Microsoft's up to 514s. Palantir up to 181.50. Google's green on the day. I'm putting this up here to see if we break all-time highs here. So we're right around all-time highs. 816s. I want to believe we're going to break it. I think we might get some liquidity pushes into all-time highs. It doesn't mean we're not going to pull back some first, though. We could go something like this and then, or we could just fly over this level. The closer we get to this, the more likely it is that we at least test it. But I think anything could happen, to be honest. A lot of people are talking about GameStop and AMC running into triple witching hour at the end of the day today, but AMC's kind of up. AMC's up to 305. They had some news from a partnership deal earlier this morning. That might be driving them, but AMC is up to 306 right now. All right, so Google on the decision regarding advertising tech. We disagree with court's initial decision and will appeal it. U.S. Department of Justice proposed changes to advertising tech so far go beyond the court's liability decision, they say. They disagree with court's initial decision and are going to appeal it. Very close to all-time highs on the NASDAQ. India and Canada agree to restart bilateral dialogue across various sectors, according to the Indian Foreign Ministry. All right, so we're pushing towards all-time highs here. Do I want to buy this? I'm curious about buying this here. But I've also seen liquidity grabs. I think the closer we get, the more likely it is that we're going to tap 815 at least. Maybe we'll tap it, break over it, and get a liquidity grab at all-time highs, or maybe we keep running. But a lot of it's going to depend on Nvidia here. Nvidia's pulling back, but I think we're at least going to tap this level. Probably. You never know, but probably. Could have been a different AFC. Could be the movie channel. Alright, now it's looking more likely we're going to tap this level here. There we go. There we go. We just tapped it. We got up to exactly that level. Like I said, sometimes what happens is you tap the level and then boom. Let's watch 8 here. 8 right here might make it bounce back up there, but it could also just break down fast if shorts get a little bit more control. Okay, there's 24.8. Yep. Doesn't mean it's gonna hold though, but Bro's levels are undefeated. Top 3. Greatest levels ever here, guys. Hit the subscribe button. Okay. You're welcome. All right, let's see 785s now. There's the liquidity grab. Everybody's waiting for the president and the two pres speak. Look at this increase coming in. Let's see if there's any news. All right, guys. Honestly, I'm probably gonna get out of here. Holding at 800s. Look at this big dump underneath. This big retracement and the bounce at 8. It looks like you would buy this, to be honest, considering how quickly we retrace back up there. But I'm not telling you to buy it, but it looks light right now. We'll see. But again, if you want to check out Top Step, great way to help support the channel. No PDT, where you can try day trading, just like I am. Again, if you want to check them out, I'll put the link up one more time. Beautiful way to help support the channel. Let's see if we break all-time highs here. We're very close, very close. Y'all be careful today. The last hour of the day is when single stock options expire. Y'all be careful. The last hour today. Last hour. There's Top Step if you want to help support the channel. We should get an update into the two presidents speaking sometime today. Sometime today. We haven't got one yet. They started the phone call at 8 a.m. this morning. So we will see. Again, y'all be careful today. A lot of stuff could happen here. I'm probably done trading. I'm green on the day. I almost never green on triple witching day. And so I think I'm just going to get out of here and celebrate my green day. Understand, guys, top 3 worst, least market professional people in the world right now. Definitely top 3 least professional. Subscribe. I appreciate it. Next week, we got PCE, inflation, GDP going live. We got Powell speaking about economic outlook on Tuesday. We got manufacturing and service PMI. We got new home sales and more next week. We're going to cover it all live right here. And yeah, have a great day, guys. Y'all be careful today. I'll see you guys later.